Man, every time I think this Epstein situation can't get any darker, another survivor steps forward and reminds us just how deep this thing really goes. And look, this ain't politics. This is pain. This is trauma. This is thousands of young girls who were preyed upon while these powerful people played dumb. And now the survivors are speaking out again. All of a sudden, the same folks who promised transparency are all of a sudden calling it a hoax. If you ever needed proof that somebody's scared of the truth coming out, this week is it. Let's get into this first clip.
Virginia Giuffre's brother, speaking with our colleague Jen Psaki on Thursday, took direct aim at the Trump administration in an extremely emotional interview. Here's part of it.
I want to be very clear. If my sister was here today, she would be appalled by this administration. I just think it's time to put a little respect on her name and all survivors' names and treat them as heroes. And stop and just stop the nonsense, this political BS that just keeps coming out of his mouth and the administration's mouth. It needs to stop.
Man, that right there hit me in the chest. This ain't a talking point. That's a brother speaking for his sister who was abused and never got justice. And he's basically saying, stop playing political games with our trauma. Look, any grown man, any father, any uncle, you feel that. And the fact that survivors' families gotta beg the president of the United States for basic decency is straight shameful. Power don't make you a leader. Character does.
You know, we need the files to be released so we can see what's in them. I don't know any more than anyone else knows what's in them, but definitely know that there would probably be more names, more people implicated. And that's why it's so important for us to get these files released.
More names. That's the phrase everybody in DC is terrified of, because people forget Epstein wasn't some solo weirdo. He had a whole network with billionaires, politicians, and celebrities, folks with private islands and private jets, living private lives we weren't going to ever see. And yes, Trump is real nervous. But let's keep it real. If these files come out, he won't be the only one sweating. You ever notice how whenever something threatens the powerful, both parties all of a sudden get real quiet? That's how you know the truth is close.
First of all, I just want to reiterate that this is not a political issue. This is a crime, and it's the crime of sex trafficking. And that is really where our focus should be. It's being politicized in a way that it really shouldn't be. I think that all of us really would implore Republicans to look at this from a more human lens, like we said in our letter. We are your sisters, we're your daughters, your nieces, your aunts, your work colleagues. And I think that when people take the focus away from the ways in which this case is being politicized and look at it for what it is, which is the crime of sex trafficking, and really think about the fact that by our government's own admission, this is a crime that victimized over 1,000 girls and young women. Everyone has a girl or a young woman in their life that they love. And to think about this happening to them, I don't know how anyone could actually tolerate thinking about this happening to someone that they love. And I think I would ask people to remember that this case has been going on through 5 administrations, through both political parties, and we really are just looking for justice for the crimes that were committed against us.
She's right. This ain't left or right. It's right or wrong. And it blows my mind that survivors have to appeal to politicians. Like basic humanity isn't enough. But here's the real question. If you claim to protect children, how are you scared of releasing files about the people who hurt them? Either you're standing with the survivors or you're standing with the people who have exploited them. There ain't no middle ground on that one, man. No middle ground at all.
So I think that the reason that it's gaining momentum is because people are understanding a little bit more what sex trafficking looks like. It's important to note, and I like to tell people that I did not realize that I had been trafficked until Epstein was arrested in 2019. And I consider myself a reasonably well-educated person, and what I thought trafficking was and what trafficking actually looks like are two very different things. These are, really difficult topics to talk about, and we avoid them because they're uncomfortable. But by avoiding them and not talking about these things, they're allowed to flourish. So I really would hope that we are able to, as a society, normalize these conversations so survivors in the future don't have to feel so alone and don't have to feel like they're not able to come forward when they're being victimized.
That right there is a part they do not want to admit. Epstein didn't operate because he was smart. He operated because nobody wanted to look. Society avoids these conversations because they're so ugly. Meanwhile, the predators get real comfortable. It's like a mole. It grows in the dark. That's why survivors speaking up is so powerful. That's why transparency really matters. Because innocent people don't hide nothing.
How would you characterize President Trump's record on sex trafficking issues, again, outside of everything that's going on with the Epstein files to date?
Just from a practical standpoint, we have the Office of Trafficking in Persons, and this year the staff at OTIP has been reduced by over 70%. That's a massive reduction for a small, overburdened agency already. Additionally, OTIP releases a tip report every year, and they have consistently released it in June. This year, it wasn't released until late September. So we're seeing, delays in things that have been happening on a regular schedule for years. It's also important to note that there have been no human trafficking grant funds released through the Office of Victims of Crime. And for those of us who do this work in nonprofit world, that is how we're able to fund doing this work. And so we have been left scrambling. Organizations have had to shut down. Staff has had to be laid off. And it's really having a big impact on fighting anti-trafficking.
Now, this is a part Trump supporters never talk about. He talks big about fighting trafficking, but cuts the funding for people actually doing the work, cuts the staff, delays the reports, chokes off the grants. You can't say protecting kids when you're defunding the people rescuing the kids. And when a survivor says she feels betrayed by the person she voted for, you got to ask yourself, what made him switch up? Who got to him? Why the 180? Fear is what usually makes a man fold. And something got this man folding like a lawn chair. Look, we're watching history unfold in real time. Survivors want truth. The powerful want the truth buried, and Congress is about to show us which side they are really on. Not who they say they protect, who they actually protect when it's time to vote. And I promise you this, hood politics is going to be right here, breaking it down, clip by clip, lie by lie, truth by truth, until the whole story comes out. If you rocking with the breakdown, hit that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more of that real hood politics talk. Not that polished political nonsense. Now, this is hood politics, and we don't do left and right. We don't do Republican and Democrats. We do right or wrong. Make sure you come back for more.